Don't doubt yourself. I gave 8 mocks in total in my last week alone, week and a half, and that helped me get more confident in time management. Those questions are just as challenging as the questions I had in my GMAT exam. Sandeep sir told something when he was teaching RC, that you're going to have to start practicing and grasping the right knowledge.
Correct.
That helped me in DI.
Congratulations, 675 and 96 percentile. And
Yes.
your score report is as such. Quantitative, you're on the 85th percentile, 89th percentile. Verbal is 79th, and data insight is the highest at 98th percentile.
Yeah.
Right. And these are scores that are out of 85, 82, 84 is is out of 90, right? And what I
Yeah.
see on the right is when you mentioned to the facilitator that you got a score and there was a jump of from 520 in your classic edition
Yes.
to a 675, that is a 96 percentile. It's equivalent to in the classic edition a 730.
Yeah.
So we're talking about at least 10 points jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big leap, right? So another round of congratulations for that to happen. So tell
Thank
me,
you so
how did you
much.
feel when you saw? I'm sure because I definitely know that because of what you've written, there was excitement. You came out of the center and you announced it to us. So I'm
Yeah.
sure you've been very happy. But how do you feel right now? Now,
Oh, I was ecstatic. Like, honestly, I just focused for 2.5 months. I was working. So when I was giving my old format, I was unemployed. But when I was giving this format, I started a job again and I was like, let's just focus and give it my all. So when I saw that score, it was crazy. Like, I was really happy because from giving up to getting something which puts me in competition was a very satisfying moment. And
exactly,
it
exactly.
is it's a stress relief because uh GMAT is step one, but like studying after taking a break of 3-4 years from your college is a very difficult thing. So overcoming that just felt amazing.
You're one step closer to the dream. If you hadn't got the GMAT at all, imagine
Yeah.
the thought that you wanted to give up on the entire MBA route. It's like giving up on the massive possibility that is there. Now it is all coming back to you, and it's just that courage that you took to stand through is amazing. Now, coming back to what could you give a little bit brief about yourself? I see that you studied in Christ, Bangalore, and then
Yeah.
you've gotten into KPMG. You were also
So
a part of some other company, ex company as well. So you could just tell us both your journey in college and professional journey, and
sure,
what
I can. Yeah.
ignited you to take up GMAT. And then we know the little bit of story why you considered for a brief moment not to consider GMAT. Could you just tell us
Yeah.
the
So
very
I was actually a science kid through and through. Till 12th, numbers were my favorite. I didn't really understand theory or history, geography, etc. Nothing really went in my head. Only mathematics went in my head. I was supposed to be an engineer by profession. My dad was pretty hell bent on me going that side as well. It just so happened that I realized that just because I like math does not mean that I like engineering as a whole. And that's where I found my interest in the field of finance. And I was a little late to explore. The only option I had at that moment was my Christ BBA.
right?
And my parents knew it was one of the best colleges for a BBA in Bangalore. So they were like, you know what, just go for that. And I did that, and I ended up festing. So festing is what opened up my ideology about strategizing. So I was in the corporate strategy side of festing, and I took part in various inter-college and intra-college fests, and that's made me realize that finance and maybe strategizing and consulting could be something I'm interested in. Cut to placement season. I was fortunate enough to get Goldman Sachs, so I joined the Goldman Sachs investment banking operations team, and I worked as an analyst, and I got promotion to senior analyst in 2 years. After that, I decided that I think it's a time for me to jump because I was still in the operational side of investment banking, not in the front end banking side. And I did a lot of research and I found out that the only way you jump is by doing a master's from a reputed college. Now, if I do my master's from any random college, a GMAT not required might not really convert to a
Right.
placement I really wanted, right?
Right.
But going from a reputed college, you have opportunities of actually being the front end of finance, which is what I've always aspired to be. But my GMAT being the basic requirement to even be considered for an application. I know there's a lot more that goes into it, but Your stepping stone is GMAT, right? And I came across top 1%. After that, I had to choose between studying and working because I did have kind of extensive work hours. So I chose to quit my job that time and I took up top 1% and I did my prep. Quant, perfect. I didn't have an issue ever in that. Verbal is where I had a problem because spoken English is not the same as GMAT English, and that is something which Sandeep sir made it very clear when he took up the sentence correction sessions. But that's where I kind of lost touch and lost most of my points. I've realized because RC and CR, the tricks sir gave really helped for me to get through what I had to do, right? But sentence correction, always my logic or the way it sounds in my head took over. And I feel like that's what caused me to lose a lot of my points. And I was unemployed for 6 months. I gave 2 attempts in that, and both of them did not go well or to the level where I wanted to be. So I started applying for jobs again, pivot to the other career. So I experienced finance. I wanted experience consulting, and I got the opportunity to work for KPMG. I'm currently still employed at KPMG, and I'm working for them, and I was preparing for my GMAT side by side. And they were very supportive. They did give me the opportunity to leverage some time to study, and this time I didn't have any distractions. I had my laptop, I had the application, I had the modules, 700 questions, and that's all I did non-stop to study. And in fact, this time I planned it. So last time was very haywire. I just did whatever I thought is right. But this time I made a plan, I made a schedule with chapters to do. Then I gave myself 2 3 weeks to just to solve 700 800 level questions. And the dream for getting in the front end of finance came through now. So hopefully I can get my college and get there.
So with all this structured approach, you also had one thing out of your way, which is SC is not there. I mean, that was a big, big relief from, having
Very big
a
relief.
lot of them now, including you in the same list. SC is out of your way, which was more challenging. And that would have made things much easier to look at the focus edition. Although the exam itself is not easier, clearly you could see the
Yeah.
number of questions are reduced. Even one mistake can cost a lot, right? Compared to the previous attempt. But tell me, what exactly did you change in terms of your preparation? Now you have the modules. Of course, we have changed the modules also. If you look at both of our courses, including the major change was in the mock portal, right? The portal came across as something very similar to what the GMAT exam is. But what stood out the most in this preparation, and what is it that
I,
you personally added as a strategy through the
I
pandemic?
would say my focus to the 700 level and 800 level questions. I, I I'm being very honest with you. Those questions are just as challenging as the questions I had in my GMAT exam.
Right.
And that prepared me. I didn't. So normally I focus so much on getting the concept right that I didn't give myself enough time to actually practice the concept. Understanding and implementation are like two parts of it, right? But when you only focus on understanding, implementation doesn't really work out. But this time I gave myself enough time to implement it. Second, I would say the portal for DI, because the mock portal for DI has multiple practice tests, right? And that gave me an understanding of different types of
Type
questions,
of
not
question.
only how to solve, but how to manage my time, because they
Okay.
were all timed. Right, I had the option of time test, and that's all that helped me a lot. And if you notice, my highest percentile was DI.
Yeah. I mean, now
I
I can look back and say the profile that you come from. I'm sure these are the things may not be as rigorous, but you would at some point in time in your work also would be looking at these statistic figure and then be,
right, yes.
so now when I look back, means it really kind of equates that DI score is high because you're actually in that job. But overall, you tell me one thing, especially with data insights, because it could be very time consuming. Five different type of question, unlike any of the other type of question. Other questions are like single, you choose one answer. Here you have to have three right answers sometimes in three tabs and looking at very intense graphs. How
Right.
did you go about managing time, especially with data insights? What did you really
Uh,
focus on and what you left, like you didn't
if
have to?
I'm gonna be really honest, I just read fast. I know this is tough for some people, and I know, but so Sandeep sir told something when he was teaching RC that you're going to have to start practicing and grasping the right knowledge.
Correct.
That helped me in DI because see, when I look at the quant part for the formula, right? So whatever you implement there is pretty simple. Like it's a logical implementation, but a lot of questions are very data heavy, word heavy. And that is when my practice of RC came into place there, where I was able to just see what the correct, it is what the passage is trying to portray. Because if you notice sometimes that there are three tabs, let's say the multi-sectional questions, the questions could be only subject to one tab. So you're going to have to quickly analyze all three tabs and then just jump there to start cross questioning. So for me, it was purely RC practice.
Practice.
RC practice, 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 practice. I whoever like tells that there are tricks, nothing works. Just practice really hard. And it got to a point where even for my GMAT, for DI, I had 10 minutes left.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yes. So
So what
my
was your order of preparation in the exam? Like
the
order of sections that you chose in the exam?
I did quant first because quant requires the most of my mental capacity and it can drain me. So I didn't want to get drained and then take quant in the end. So my biggest focus was quant. Quant was first. Then came verbal because verbal gives me some breathing time to relax and get through. And then DI because I have to again start using my head. Then I took a break between verbal and DI.
Right. Now, had that, you had 10 minutes of time. Had you taken verbal later on, you would have like 20 minutes. It's so
Yeah,
tired
yeah, yeah.
now that
And
you look back.
but my problem was I also had time left for verbal. The only section that I actually cut was quant because for verbal I had 15 minutes left, and I think that's where I rushed myself and lost most points because so when I checked my report, right, I got three questions wrong for DI, I got three questions wrong for quant, I got one question wrong for RC. My score dropped only because of CR, which I tried rushing through because I was trying to get quicker and trying to grasp the knowledge faster. Otherwise, I would say it was like honestly, Sandeep sir's content was enough for me. That gave me enough insight on like how to go ahead and solve. And he did say keep practicing mocks so you get the idea of time management. I gave approximately from the official MBA exam I gave two mocks, and from Sandeep sir's portal I gave around six mocks. So I gave eight mocks in total in my last week alone, last week and a half, and that helped me get more confident in time management.
Right. So one of the things that I would want to ask, you really stood through, the entire idea of doing GMAT after the second attempt. One of the things that a lot of students do ask me, and we tell the same thing. The question is that should I consider leaving my job and prepare for GMAT alone? Is this a wise option? And we always say no, because then, you'll have to show in your application. You can't be we don't you because then everybody's capacity is very different. People do
Right,
take up
right,
the job and then they'll give GMAT in no matter what time. So we do not recommend unless you can pull off. Now that you've experienced both sides of it, so what is it that because then you have been there. We telling is one thing. This is our recommendation.
right.
What is your experience through both of these phases?
I would say don't leave your job if you can leverage even a little bit of time. So I left my job because I didn't have any bandwidth to study at
Right,
all. And at that time, I thought it's a wise decision. But when I joined KPMG, considering the company was very accommodating with my work timings, I give you have to compromise, right? Compromises are a part of this journey. That's what I learned very later.
right.
But I used to wake up at 6 in the morning, study from 6:30 to 8:30,
There you
then
go.
go to my job, come back to my from my job at 7 in the evening. Then 8 baje se leke, from 8 to again 10:30, I'm studying, taking a break. Then again 11:30 to 12:30, I'm compromising sleep. I slept for barely 6 hours a day. I stopped working out. Reduced meeting my friends. So like you have to make compromises if you
Sacrifices
can.
and compromises. Yes.
It's a 2 month journey, I would say. If you're willing to make these sacrifices for 2 months, the rewards are beautiful.
Right.
And when I quit my job, I the your focus for studying can't be okay for me personally, can't be 10 hours a day.
Right.
I'm someone who can just give myself 5 hours of focus. I
Right.
feel like if you have an accommodating job, you can do that 5 hours with your work. You have a steady income coming, you have your profile getting stronger with your work experience increasing, and plus you're preparing for your GMAT.
Right. And in through, because then sometimes it becomes very difficult. 1 month people will have full josh. Yes, I'll do it. But then the second month they'll they get succumbed to the situation, maybe at work, maybe at professional, personal level. So you did tell me at some point that, your parents and your family really supported and rooted.
They did, they did.
Any other motivation that kept you going for those 2 months? You sacrificed a couple of things. We are humans by at the end of it, it's very difficult to stay focused. And that's why we say GMAT requires a
It
3 month,
does.
but a 3 month of, attention. So what are the things that motivated to stay
It was
strong for those 2 months?
the vision of my end goal. I do picture myself in a different country, in a different city, probably working, whatever business, whatever my journey is, right? I'm not gonna define that yet, but the fact that I wanted to be there and that vision in my head, and by vision, I mean not just like imagining it, but my phone wallpaper is London Business School, my laptop screen is New York, my phone screen is New York, wherever, like the places I want to go to, right? What I want to achieve and how my GMAT can help me get there. I just kept visualizing it. And one of a very, very weird trick, and I don't know if it works for everybody. My cousin told me just write the score you want on a piece of paper and stick it on a wall.
Yes.
You
It's
just keep it there and keep looking at it, and you are working towards that. And every goal you want is from that score. And just looking at that every day, looking at these things every day just kept me going that you're gonna get here if you work hard enough.
This is one of the things that I keep asking all our scorers. Very commonly, this is said. One of the things that they use a sticker or a post-it, put it in the wall that this is the score I want to go get, and this is the school I want to go. At least two of them, and every single day they wake up, or maybe even in the laptop, this is where I want to go. They open it. That's very, very motivating, because some of the things Sandeep sir can bring it to your platter, right? He's being a mentor. He's a teacher by heart, but some of the things really need that extra push from your side, right? What you've shared is incredibly, very good. I hope all our aspirants have that kind of vision as well, like you said. Now, in through the preparation, you've mentioned in a couple of points, especially the 700, 800 being a game changer. Any other, content, or maybe even Sandeep sir's video or the help? Did you see yourself asking doubts often in through your preparation?
I did not. So I didn't do that, but his videos really helped me in questions where I wasn't able to understand how to approach it, right? See, a lot of times when you do a question from the guidebook or from the question bank, the explanation might not make sense to you.
Right.
But the only good thing was that Sandeep sir covered every type of question in his videos. So whenever I was not able to relate to an explanation which is put in words, I used to just go open the video, watch that part where he explained a similar type of question and a similar concept for me to grasp it. And I feel like that flow helped me. But if I'm being really honest, I know Sir has given so many resources, but his videos, his question bank, and that mock portal alone were enough for me to make it
Right.
where I am. And I know there are people who have scored like way more than me, but for me to get that jump, it was just crazy.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. 210 in no time. The other thing that I would like to ask is in terms of the number of questions. Do you recall? Because you said you've done it all, and 700, 800 has massive set of questions. Do you remember how many passages have you solved through RC, CR, or
Yeah, yeah.
any of these questions? Like, if you have to give it a number, because
RC, I would say I did approximately 100 passages.
right,
Uh,
overall, including even the mock separate,
Mock separate, just no, no, no. 700 level questions, miss, I did around 80.
right?
And in the mock portal में था अलग, then तो there are sectional wise tests, right?
Right.
I gave approximately all,
All
whatever
20.
Sanskrit's portal has, all I've given, and it was good. Quant, I went topic wise. I used to pick up 20 questions from each topic.
Right.
So like he has the first, which is arithmetic, right? That has standard profit loss, speed, distance, time, work. So I used to pick up questions from each section and solve them. And then from CR, I again just solved the mixed bag. So
Right.
I solved all the mixed bag, the two mixed bags, right? I solved both of them. I didn't solve sectional wise there. Feel like that's where I dropped the ball. And DI, all the portal mocks again, like the portal type the questions. Sorry, I don't know what it's called. Sectional tests for DI, all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are different types of questions that are there in DI. You have MSR and you have graphics. So Sectional, we have topic wise, and we have full length mocks. That's it. And then there's post work and pre work.
So I didn't do which like specific to the type of question. I did the practice which had everything mixed in it.
Everything mixed bag. Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
that I did that for DI because I didn't want to just train myself into one thing. I wanted to like train myself in a way where the GMAT functions, right? You get different type of questions throughout. So I wanted to make myself ready where I can grasp different information in different forms and work on that.
Mixed bag was the section, right? So we've got it all. I mean, every step of whatever you share is super inspirational. So one of the unconventional tip you would say, the do's and the don'ts for any aspirant who's starting out right now, maybe in the middle of the preparation, what would you say?
Don't doubt yourself.
Right.
Sandeep sir says one thing that GMAT is a very big mind game.
Yes.
More than what you're doing, you really have to be mentally prepared to what you're getting into. So before your exam, be it 2 weeks, be it 3 weeks, just find something that calms you down and doesn't let the exam get to your head, because the minute you let it get to your head, I feel like you've lost 50% of the game there. Uh, so just mentally prepare yourself that it's a difficult journey and you always have to, you'll make through. Just convince yourself about that and it'll be a smooth process. And even the exam will feel a whole lot easier than how it actually might be. I would say, keep regular practice for each topic. So I know people say that today we're focusing on quant, today we're focusing on verbal, today we're focusing on DI, and they spend the entire day, 5, 6 hours, how much of a time you're putting just on those topics. I would say even if you're trying to prioritize quant for one day, like just leave 1 hour for some verbal practice.
Right.
So you have that regular touch of getting RC done, getting CR done, getting DI done. Whatever you're doing, it should not be missed.
Right.
Always put it on the back of your head, because that keeps it fresh in your head. Because many people, when they're trying to prepare, they solve an entire video of quant and they take 3 days. Let's say I took self-paced for my Focus edition, right? So I'm at 3 days. Some people might just lose practice of what they're doing in RCCR. And I know it's like not high likely, but for me it was that I would sometimes lose touch and would like, okay, let me just get it back. So just keep practicing regularly and all topics covered throughout.
That's well said, because this is what we keep saying, that even if you're doing quant, right? We keep saying that Sandeep sir has clearly mentioned, at least do 3, 4 passage, 25 minutes. If you're
Exactly.
spending 3 hours, spend 25 minutes in doing these verbal, because verbal is continuous preparation, RC or CR. If you lose one day touch, you'll be stepping 1, 2 days back in your entire preparation. And you could have put it, I mean, you put it in the right framework. Thank you so much for sharing all these tips that worked for you. Hopefully, somebody in your same position would really gain,
I really hope it does help somebody, because the exam is pretty daunting.
really
So
daunting. Really courage. You've taken, courage to stand by and really you trusted Sandeep in this entire process.
I did, I really did, yeah.
That's another thing that's important. So what's next for Dhruv, from what you shared, London Business School, because London you said, New York, Columbia Business School. But
Yeah.
what is it for you? I'm sure whenever you choose to apply, what schools
So
are
my
you?
aim is to do an MBA. I'm pretty clear on that, because I'm still not sure if I want to enter private equity or management consulting.
Right,
If I'm able to, single out a career choice, and I might do an MSc, but that's very unlikely for me right now.
right,
And I'm planning to apply an R2. So I was going to apply an R1, but I realized I didn't have enough time and I didn't want to rush the application.
right.
Also slightly unconventional, but I might give my GMAT again. Now that I'm confident I can get a score, I'm not satisfied with
What
the
you have.
score I have, and I do want to strive further.
Great.
So I might just do that and apply for my MBA in the US and in a few colleges in Europe in R2.
Perfect, perfect. I don't know who are you working with, but whoever it is, I hope you get the admit. We can stay connected. We want to see the progress happening. But meanwhile, thank you so much for, like I said, believing in Sandeep sir, believing in top percent to get you there, and having that courage to really take this up. Because otherwise, it's very easy to let go of the dream.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of courage and the right mentor to really stick on to whatever you've thought of.
I
And
really want to thank the entire top 1% team and Sandeep sir. Sandeep sir's videos and his content really was amazing. I've tried target test prep. I've tried a bunch of other, coaching centers from my friends' curriculums or the books they have or the content they have. And I've honestly, my word of mouth to anybody who tries pursuing GMAT is take top 1% right now, because I think his tips and his way of teaching is the best. So I really want to thank the team for helping me on this journey.
Yeah, it's a little bit way beyond just preparing for GMAT. I mean, this is something he wants for you. If
Right.
you really have thought that this is what you want to do, I think that philosophy also matches. That if you one get yourself the best, you find someone to get there, and you want it for yourself. That
Mhm.
should be there. Like I
Right.
can't say that this is your dream to go to, let's say, Harvard, right? It should be your dream and you should open up to being there. Then we can all move hand in hand. Thanks
Right.
again for joining me today.
Thank
And
you for
it's
having
a
me.
pleasure talking to you. Let's keep connected.